3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, it's Bobby, probably better known as Batboy Bob, and it's time for another top 10 video. This time, Kaldheim top 10 EDH cards, and yeah, this set turned out to be pretty cool. I'm really excited about a lot of the cards from the set. I've already had the chance to play with a bunch of them, and I want to share my top 10, my 10 favorite, my 10 cards that I'm going to play with the most in Commander from Kaldheim. Yeah, I think these cards are powerful. I think they're fun. Truth be told, the number 2 card on my list definitely is not the second most powerful card in Kaldheim for Commander, but I just love the card and I've been playing with it so much. Gonna tell you all about what I think. Yeah, alright, starting off at number 10, we got Tyvar Kell, the sexy elf poster boy of the set. Turns out this guy's pretty cool. Golgari card. He can't be your commander because he's a planeswalker, I think. I don't think he's one of that planeswalkers where it says you can play him as your commander. But he is really strong. I think that, yeah, any elf deck is going to want to play him, obviously. His 0 ability poops out tokens, and his, I think it's his static ability makes your elves tap for black. So that's pretty sweet. Any elf deck that's playing green or black is going to want Tyvar Kell. And yeah, we're starting off this list with a tribal card. And yeah, Kaldheim is all about tribes. And as you'll see from my top 10 list here, my top 10 list is really about tribes. Because, yeah, there are so many cool tribal cards from the set. This set inspired me to create a new deck. My most competitive deck that I'm playing right now is basically built off of Kaldheim, in a sense. But yeah, this is Tyvar Kell. He's good. He's sexy. If you're playing elves and you can play him, put him in your deck. He's good. Just imagine untapping Priest of Titania or Marwyn with his first ability. That's pretty sick. Alright, number 9, we have Birgi. Not Fergie, Birgi. And Birgi is, Birgi has blue eyes and she's black, which is fine. That's cool. I think there's black people with blue eyes in the world. But yeah, Birgi is pretty interesting because she's a modal dual face. I don't know what they call it exactly, but front half, you get this 3-mana creature. It has a boast ability at the bottom that doesn't really matter. I don't think boast is really a commander ability. I think it's more for standard. But anyway, Birgi's first ability, which adds a red mana whenever you cast a spell, I'm pretty sure. That's pretty nice. If your deck has a bunch of low-costed things, which a lot of competitive decks have, being able to get 1 mana for every single time you cast a spell is pretty cool. By the way, does she not look like Lana Rhodes? She kind of looks like Lana Rhodes. If you don't know who Lana Rhodes is, look her up and you're in for a treat. Anyway, the backside of Birgi is a artifact horn. I think you discard a card and then exile the top 2 cards of your library and then you can play those cards. Yeah, I think. Maybe it's like until end of turn or whatever. But yeah, the artifact side I think is really sweet. I used to play a Golos 5-color deck that was really focused on getting as many land drops as you possibly could during a turn. That would be sweet, and that sort of strategy, being able to just, you know, if you have something like Azusa or Burgeoning or Wayward Swordtooth, you're going to be able to just plop out as many lands as you want with this horn, being able to manipulate the top of your deck. I think something like Elsha of the Infinite would really like this card, being able to manipulate the top of your deck, taking advantage of the fact that you're playing really cheap spells. Yeah, I forget the name of the horn, but Birgi is the front half. We're just going to call her Lana Rhodes. So this is Lana Rhodes, and she's number 9 on our list. Yeah, okay, number 8, we have the World Tree. Yeah, back on the tribal game. World Tree is cool because it's basically Chromatic Lantern on land. World Tree is not cool because it comes in tapped. Even though I'm playing a tribal deck, Spoiler alert. I don't have World Tree in the deck, even though World Tree combos with my favorite card in the set. Maybe you know what it is already. I don't play lands that come into play tapped. I'm trying to think if I do in my competitive deck. I don't think I play a single land that comes into play tapped. But if you're not so obsessed with that, I think World Tree is great. Fixes your mana. That cute ability at the bottom is pretty hilarious with my favorite card in the set. We're not going to talk about it yet. But, yeah, World Tree is cool. It's interesting how it's not legendary. In Commander, it wouldn't matter if it was, but in Standard, Modern, whatever, they said that they're not printing legendary lands, so this isn't legendary. But yeah, World Tree, number 8. Okay, let's keep going. Number 7, we got Valky and Tybalt, or Valky/Tybalt. I really like him because I think the 2-mana creature side is super relevant. There's so many good creatures in Commander, especially competitive Commander, honestly. Even players who are playing Grixis or whatever, you might be able to hit their Dock side, you might be able to hit their Spellseeker with Valky, and doing that would completely disrupt a lot of them. It's a 3-for-1, right? You're probably going to get to exile a creature from each of your opponents, and you're going to have this creature left over, and that's just awesome. And then, speaking of the backside, the 7-mana Planeswalker, yeah, really good card. If you're capable of playing this, you probably are going to. It's powerful enough for the mana that it costs. I think its ultimate is probably going to win you the game if you're playing in a competitive setting where your opponents have things like Mana Rocks, Jewel Lotuses, whatever in their graveyard that you're able to basically storm off with. Yeah, I like Valky/Tybalt. It's a cool card. I tried playing it. It was just a little, I don't know. It's not underwhelming necessarily, but I feel like in the deck that I'm playing, it doesn't really fit the bill necessarily. I'm not playing that stacksy of a deck. I think most Rakdos decks are going to want this. I don't think like Turbo Grixis Ad Nauseam decks are necessarily going to play this. But yeah, if you're playing a Rakdos deck, you're probably playing Valky and Tybalt, and I just like the card. It's cool. So it's number 7 on the list. Number 6, we have a disgusting card. I remember when I saw this spoiled, I was just like, God, I hope I never play against this. This is Tergrid. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Tergrid is a 5-mana commander, presumably, that needs to be removed before the player untaps with her. Because if she untaps with her and resolves something like, I don't know, anything that forces your opponents to discard cards or sacrifice your permanents, you're going to be in a world of pain. So yes, Tergrid, I think, is going to be an amazing commander. People are going to build around her, obviously, including as many discard and sacrifice things as they can into their deck. Things like Fleshbag Marauder. What's the 1-mana sorcery that makes each player sacrifice a creature? That's pretty good. Obviously, cards that make your opponent discard. I'm not really thinking of any at the moment. I know there's like ETB creatures that make each of your opponent discard, stuff like that. Yeah, Tergrid is a nasty commander, and I'm sure that there are some decks that are going to want her in the 99. A couple things I thought of are maybe like Nath, decks that are focused on forcing your opponents to discard. I think, yeah, mono black decks are probably going to run her if she's not the commander, just because it's so good. The value. If you have any sort of cards that force your opponents to discard or sacrifice permanents, Tergrid is sweet. All right, into the top 5 we go. This is my baby. Goldspan Dragon. This thing is just so awesome. The art is awesome. The name is awesome. Goldspan Dragon. It just sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like spam. That doesn't make it sound cool at all. But Goldspan Dragon is cool. Being able to, effectively double the mana that your treasures produce. Very reminiscent of, what's his name? The little 2-drop green and blue Simic guy. Oh, what's his name? He's from Ikoria. I'll put him up here. But very similar to that. Gonna ramp you. It's really sweet that he has haste and he produces treasures on his own just by attacking. I love the Goldspan Dragon. I don't know if you know, but I play a Niv Mizzet Dragon Treasure Dragon Treasure Tribal deck, and Goldspan Dragon is basically the poster child of that deck. And I love it. And Goldspan Dragon also goes really well with a creature that is also on this list. You might know what I'm talking about. I'll try to bring up old Goldspan Boy when we get to that card. Alright, that's Goldspan Dragon. Number 4, Orvar. Wow. I remember when I saw this card spoiled, I was a little underwhelmed because it was like, okay, whenever you target, a creature you control, you can make a copy of it. And then I was like, oh, it's permanent? That's pretty nuts. So imagine copying your Gaia's Cradle. Imagine copying your Dockside Extortionist. Yeah. Most things I've seen on the internet are focusing on Orvar as the commander, which makes perfect sense. Building a mono blue deck around Orvar doesn't seem too hard, including a bunch of 1-mana instant speed things that target permanents, creatures, blah, blah, blah. That could be a very disruptive deck. It could also be a very explosive deck. Really, you could go infinite with this pretty easily. But I'm building a 5-color tribal deck, and Orvar is definitely a part of that. Not only is he a changeling, but the best card in my tribal deck, which doesn't really have to do anything with tribal, is Dockside Extortionist. Orvar makes it so that if I have a Dockside Extortionist on the field and I have Orvar, I'm probably going to have at least 1 mana left over. I'm playing things in my deck like Swords to Plowshares. I'm playing things in my deck like Assassin's Trophy. I'm playing things in my deck like... I have a few bounce spells, things like... It's a 1-mana blue instant that bounces target non-land permanent. Vapor. It's like Chained Vapor or something. I forget the name of it. But there's multiple spells in my deck that have the capability of targeting whether it be a creature or a permanent, blah, blah, blah. So Orvar, being a changeling, he slots right into my deck. We'll get into that. Orvar is awesome. If you want to build him as your commander, that's cool. If you want to put him in your 99 of a tribal deck, which hopefully you do, because it's the best, it's the coolest thing in the world. We're going to talk about that, don't worry. Orvar, great card as a commander, or 99 of the tribal deck of awesomeness. Sweet. Number 3 on our list, speaking of tribal, we have Magda. We already talked about Magda in the bathtub, if you've seen my video talking about Magda after she got spoiled. But Magda is just so sweet. God, yeah. In my tribal deck, she's one of the best cards. I'm playing every single 1-mana changeling available. That's the black one that can't be blocked and can't block. That's the 1-mana automaton. And that's also the blue Moth Dust Changeling, which is the absolute best changeling. It's so good. Moth Dust Changeling and Magda, they are so gross together, right? Because Magda only cares about tapping, you see? And Moth Dust Changeling can tap any one of our creatures in order to gain flying. Even if you do that one time, right, your Moth Dust Changeling gains flying, but Moth Dust Changeling allows you to tap any number of your creatures. It's beautiful, because Moth Dust Changeling is a dwarf, right? Yeah. And if you're wondering what we're searching with, what artifact or dragon we're going to search for with Magda, yeah, it'd be cool to get Goldspan Dragon, and I thought that at first, but easily the best artifact to search for in the deck that I play is Cloudstone Curio. Yeah, Cloudstone Curio. So, let's say we have the Moth Dust Changeling turn 1. Alright, cool. That's fine. Turn 2. Magda. Boom. We have Moth Dust Changeling that can attack, and we have Magda. We're probably going to tap Magda with Moth Dust Changeling's ability, give it flying. It gets +1/+0. It's a little 2/1 flyer. Gets in there. Magda gave us a treasure. Tapping our Moth Dust Changeling when we attack gave us a treasure. It's 2 treasures. We only need 3 more treasures to be able to search for Cloudstone Curio. But that's not going to take too long. Plus, Cloudstone Curio with Moth Dust Changeling. Moth Dust Changeling, you can actually, like, tap a different creature. Even if your Moth Dust Changeling entered the battlefield this turn, that its effect isn't affected by Summoning Sickness. So with Cloudstone Curio, you're capable of, if you have another creature, let's say it's a 1-mana creature, you play it, you bounce back your Moth Dust, and you can just tap, play, tap, bounce. Yeah, you see what I'm talking about? Yeah. And obviously Dockside Extortionist with Cloudstone Curio, we all know that's busted. And then, yes, with my Tazri, I get with Dockside and Cloudstone, get infinite mana. You put the infinite mana into Tazri. You search up all the wizards, rogues, warriors, allies, and clerics from your deck into your hand. It's pretty sick that you're adding them, you're not drawing them. Well, that's kind of obvious. But, yeah, Magda is one of the best payoffs for being tribal. She's absolutely ridiculous with changelings. She's awesome. She's great. She searches up Cloudstone Curio, which is one of the best cards in the deck. She's awesome. Yes. All right. Number 2, favorite card from the set, Maskwood Nexus. It's so sick. This is the card that inspired me to make a tribal deck. I'm just going to run through some of the cards that I thought of when I saw Maskwood Nexus. I'm sure there's hundreds of tribal cards, but these are just some of the fun ones that I found. There's Kaza, there's Patron Wizard, there's Shaman of the Pack, Angel of Glory's Rise, I'm getting too excited. Goblin Lackey, Brightstone Ritual, Mog Catcher, Cabal Slaver, Emil, Sensation Gorger, Priest of Titania, Bloodline Shaman, and yeah, those are some of the ones that I thought of that aren't in my tribal deck. In terms of the things that are in my tribal deck, and yes, Maskwood Nexus is obviously in the deck. Magda can search up Maskwood Nexus. That's pretty gross. But some of the things that are in my deck that combo with Maskwood Nexus are Peer Pressure, Yuriko, which is just amazing with this, Didgeridoo. See, all the creatures in our hand are Minotaurs now, so we can just put them out for 3 mana. And Turntimber Ranger. Turntimber Ranger, when it ETBs, you get a wolf. And whenever another ally ETBs, you get a wolf and put a +1/+1 counter on Turntimber Ranger. Those wolves usually aren't allies for whatever reason. You would think they were allies to the Turntimber Ranger, but maybe they're not friends. But the Maskwood Nexus makes them into friends, and it makes it so that you have infinite tokens. And luckily, Turntimber Ranger is a May ability, so this doesn't end in a draw. We can stop that when we are satisfied with our giant number of all creature type tokens and our massive Turntimber Ranger. Some other super memey cards that go really well with the Maskwood Nexus are Atla Palani, making all of your creatures into eggs. Seems nice. Reaper King, making all of your creatures into scarecrows. And the Dragon, making all your creatures into dragons. I'm sure you can figure out many other things to do with this card. It's my favorite card from the set. It's not number one on my list because I don't think it's the most powerful, obviously. But this card inspired me to make my Tawzri deck, and I've been having so much fun playing it. I love seeing all the reactions when I cast Artificial Evolution on my Didgeridoo and say something like humans, and then I'm able to just use my Didgeridoo to poop out all the humans from my hand or something. Yeah, I love that deck, and I can't wait to make a deck tech on it. I can't wait to show you guys, and I'm sure that the deck is just, because it's tribal, anytime a new tribal card comes out, I'm going to be able to look at it and, like, you know, consider putting it in my deck. And that's just awesome. And just the way that Wizards has been really pushing tribal strategies lately, it's got to just get stronger from here, I imagine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some of my favorite cards... Oh, wait. I forgot. One of my favorite cards in my tribal deck is... what is it called? It's the 3-mana elemental, where whenever it or another elemental ETB is under your control, you basically get to either ramp or add a card to your hand. That card's also insane. What is that called? I can't remember. But anyway, the possibilities are endless with Maskwood Nexus. Alright, on to our number one card from Kaldheim. It is the Mystic Reflection. I don't really care about the Foretell ability. Yeah, pretty much like, yeah, on turn 2, on turn 2, I don't really think there's going to be a scenario, or at least in my playtesting of this card, there hasn't been a scenario where I foretold this card, because it's 3 mana as opposed to just playing it for 2 mana. I'm sure there will be a scenario where I think, oh, I should foretell this, but yeah, this card is absolutely insane. Like I said, one of the best cards in my deck is Dockside Extortionist. Being able to have our creatures enter as copies of Dockside is amazing, getting more of those triggers. But I think one of the sickest, dirtiest applications of this card is whenever your opponent plays their commander, you can just always respond with this Mystical Reflection and, oh, sorry, your commander's going to enter as a copy of my Mana Dork, and it will remain a Mana Dork for as long as it sits there. And they're probably going to have to spend their own resources to remove their own creature just so that they're able to cast their commander. Yeah, this card is absolutely sick. It's instant speed, obviously, but it allows you to hold up your mana on turn 1 or turn 2 and respond to your opponent casting their commander. This is a back-breaking ability. It's also offensive when you have those sort of dockside plays, or you can have things enter as copies of your Eternal Witness or as your Spell Seeker or something like that. Yeah, Mystical Reflection is the real deal. If you haven't gotten the chance to play this card, I highly suggest you do. It makes your opponents cry, and that's what we're all about here at Bat Boy Bob. But yeah, that's my top 10 list for commander cards from Kaldheim. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you would like to play with me, I'm always on untap.in. I am usually looking for CEDH games. You can find me on there. Otherwise, yeah. If you haven't already, please like, please subscribe. Thank you so much for the support, and happy gaming. Happy spell slinging. Have a great day, and we'll see you later. Peace.